everyone. We're going to kick things off. My name is Chris Gard, and on behalf of the GTA Movember Committee, I'd like to thank everyone for signing up and for all the support shown thus far. Before we get to the main event, I'd like to take a moment to speak to the campaign. As many of you know, the Movember Foundation got to start raising funds and awareness for prostate and testicular cancers. And has since evolved over the years to include more of a focus on mental health and suicide prevention as well. The foundation, since starting out in Australia in the early 2000s, the foundation has become massively successful worldwide and has gained a ton of traction in Canada as well. Movember and KeePMG have a long history together as well. As a firm, we've done an amazing job supporting the cause over the years. To date, in 2020, we're closing in on $25,000 raised in the GTA, and nationally, KeePMG is currently in the lead of a friendly competition we're having with accounting firms nationwide. It's also been great seeing a lot of stellar mustaches out there on our video calls in November. So a huge shout out goes to all of those individuals who have really gone above and beyond this year to support the campaign, and to all of you for signing up and participating in the event tonight. We do ask, if you haven't done so already, if you can make a voluntary $10 donation to the cause by following the link provided in the communications thus far, and also included in the YouTube link. So with all of that, hey everyone, we're going to kick things off. My name is Chris Gard, and on behalf of the GTA Movember Committee, I'd like to thank everyone for signing up and for all the support shown thus far. Before we get to the main event, I'd like to take a moment to speak to the campaign. As many of you know, the Movember Foundation got to start raising funds and awareness for prostate and testicular cancers. And has since evolved over the years to include more of a focus on mental health and suicide prevention as well. The foundation, since starting out in Australia in the early 2000s, the foundation has become massively successful worldwide and has gained a ton of traction in Canada as well. Movember and KeePMG have a long history together as well. As a firm, we've done an amazing job supporting the cause over the years. To date, in 2020, we're closing in on $25,000 raised in the GTA, and nationally, KeePMG is currently in the lead of a friendly competition we're having with accounting firms nationwide. It's also been great seeing a lot of stellar mustaches out there on our video calls in November. So a huge shout out goes to all of those individuals who have really gone above and beyond this year to support the campaign, and to all of you for signing up and participating in the event tonight. We do ask, if you haven't done so already, if you can make a voluntary $10 donation to the cause by following the link provided in the communications thus far, and also included in the YouTube link. So with all that, I know we're all getting hungry, so I think it's time to introduce the star of tonight's broadcast, Adam Kelly. Adam's a manager in our E&R audit group by day and a master chef by night. He calls himself a home cook, but I think he's starting to get into to professional territory, seeing some of the dishes he's thrown together over the years. Adam was a contestant on the Food Network Canada show Wall of Chefs in the spring. If you haven't already, I highly recommend watching his episode to see him in action, or at the very least, check out his audition on his YouTube channel. So I have no doubt that tonight's dish will be a real crowd pleaser. So hopefully you have all your ingredients and supplies together and are ready for Adam to take your cheeseburger to the next level. So thanks again for coming out. We really appreciate your support. And Adam, over to you.
All right, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Chris. Thanks so much for joining me tonight, and apologies for those minor technical difficulties there. I'm just going to fix another one that seems to have come up. Bear with me for a second. Still trying to figure out this virtual thing. All right, we're back. Apologize for that, but thank you very much, Chris. So everybody, I think everyone here has experienced a bad burger in their life. Whether that's a frozen patty, maybe that's that father figure, maybe a father-in-law that's told you never smash a burger. You're gonna just squeeze all the juice out of it. But guess what? We're gonna dispel those myths tonight. And I am going to show you how to build a better burger at home with some awesome homemade condiments besides Caesar salad. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's Adam Kelly. I'm a manager in our E&R audit practice and also a bit of a home cook by night and doing my absolute best to be a Mo Bro this Movember. So, a huge shout out to the Movember team here at KeePMG, KeePMosGrowing. They've done a fantastic job this year, absolutely smashed their goal, no pun intended. But we do encourage you, if you haven't done so already, everybody who attends this class, we ask that you please make a suggested donation of $10. The donation link is below, so please do so after the class. But I think it's time. We're hungry. Let's get ready and make some burgers. So, we're talking about the classic smash burger here. What we're going to do tonight, we're going to start with, just standard ground beef. You don't need steak, anything fancy. But, what you do want with this beef is at least about 20% fat content, maybe 20, 25. And that's usually what you're going to get, with your supermarket ground beef. If you got that medium ground beef, that's going to give, a lot of juice to that burger and just make it absolutely delicious. Also, I have a bun here. I think as I, specified in the ingredient list, you want something nice and squishy, and you don't want that crusty Kaiser. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but I always find a nice brioche bun like this is best. And, we're talking about quality ingredients here, but in this instance, we're using one of our favorites, a solid piece of American cheese, or as we know it north of the border here, a nice Kraft single. You might think it tastes like plastic, it's not real, but for this type of burger, a smash burger, really nothing else can replace it. The way it melts is just really like none other. It's not going to, do the same justice as an old slice of cheddar. Save those nice cheeses for the cheese boards. Today, We're using Velveeta. All right, so I've actually turned my oven on already to 375. So if you haven't already, please go ahead and do so. We want to get that oven preheated because we're going to make some homemade croutons for our salad. So go ahead, get that oven up to 375. Mine is preheating now. And what we want to do to start, you know, as the French say, get your mise en place a little bit ready. You want to, you know, prep those ingredients. You know, make sure you have everything ready so you're not frantically chopping onions as your burgers are in the pan. Everything's ready to go, just like an audit or a lot of the work that we do. You know, planning in the kitchen makes everything else a little bit easier. So with that, what we want to do, if you haven't already, peel, wash, and dry all your produce. You know, most importantly, making sure you get that lettuce washed. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and do that. I did, you know, take a couple seconds and wash my produce before. But I will give everybody a quick second to go ahead, wash that produce. We're going to get it on the cutting board. So the produce we're going to be working with tonight, you know, we have an onion that's going to go into our bacon onion jam. You know, we're going to have to prepare some of that romaine lettuce for our Caesar salad. What else do we got? And then any desired toppings that you like on your burger. You know, some of us like tomato, some of us like pickle. The choice is yours tonight. So with that, I'm going to, you know, move this stuff out of the way because we're going to revisit some of these ingredients in a few short moments. And, you know, first thing we want to do is get our lettuce ready for that salad. So as you can see, I have my romaine lettuce here. And anytime you're working with lettuce, I highly recommend that you don't chop it with a knife, especially if you want to save more for later. For someone like me, you know, who lives just with a roommate, buys produce for one, I find a lot of the time I can't get through an entire head of lettuce or anything like that in one meal, so I often find myself saving it. But if you cut it with a metal knife, you know, like so, that's when you get that brown, red hue to your lettuce, and, you know, it just goes bad a lot faster. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, with a big ball of iceberg lettuce, if you slice right down the middle of that, you'll notice next time you check it in the fridge, it's, you know, gone quite red, almost looks like it's gone bad. But if you just use your hands, you completely avoid that. So, you know, generally I don't love the leafy tops of the lettuce like this, so, you know, I'm probably going to rip off the first couple inches and just discard that. And then, I mean, I'm going to go against my own tip, but because we're going to use this whole piece of lettuce today, it's all right just to cut that core out. And, you know, generally there's a couple pieces right in the middle who are, you know, not the most appetizing either. But, okay, we have our lettuce now. You know, we're going to grab a large bowl. And we're going to just go ahead and, you know, rip that into whatever size pieces, you know, you want in your salad. Some people like the leafy greens. Myself prefer more of the crunchy bottoms. All right, so you made it this far. We have lettuce in the bowl. So what other produce do we have to chop up? What we really need to get started tonight is our bacon onion jam. You know, what that's going to do is slowly caramelize on the stove. And then these burgers, you know, they really take just about a minute. So you're going to probably forget that you're even in a burger cooking class for the first little bit of this program. So, okay, you know, we can just set aside our lettuce. We're going to revisit that in about probably 20-30 minutes time. And then next what we're going to do is we're going to chop our onions. So I actually pre-chopped mine, but you know, it would only be fair if I chopped along with you. So, you know, what we're going to do here is just take our onion, you know, make sure you tuck those fingers nice and in nicely. You know, you're going to need them on the keyboard probably in a week's or two's time. You can slice that onion in half. Just a simple peel. Like so. And I mean, I'm not too prone to crying over onions. You know, call me a hero, but if you are prone to crying while you chop onions, I've heard that chewing gum, or alternatively, as silly as it might look, holding a piece of bread in your mouth will both cut down on that. So, what we can do here is just want to finely chop that onion. Thin slices. The thinner we get the onion chopped now, the quicker it's going to caramelize in the pan. All right, like so. Okay, so we can just push that to one side of the cutting board. We're going to get that cooking away in just a second. But in the meantime, what we can do is start to create some croutons as well. Croutons, you can use really any old regular bread you have lying around. That's anytime I have a baguette, maybe we didn't finish it. It's great just to throw in the freezer and one day turn into croutons. Dry bread creates the best croutons. But with this bun, I'm just going to slice it sort of into about 1-inch chunks. About what you expect to be a crouton size. Great. You can set those aside. And then lastly, what we need to chop is our bacon. So you want to take that about ½ pound of bacon, so probably about half the package, and you're just going to cut it into tiny little pieces, probably about a ½ inch each. So I've pre-chopped mine, but go ahead and chop up that bacon now, because we're going to want to get that in the pan, because this onion jam is really what's going to take the longest to cook tonight, but trust me, it's going to be worth every single minute. All right, so as we get through tonight, as this is live, if you have any questions or concerns, as a reminder, the full recipe was sent out this morning. So if you missed a step, I'm going to quickly. You should be able to refer back to that, or feel free to use that YouTube live chat, which is being monitored tonight. We'll try to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so I hope, looks like my oven's preheated, hope yours is as well, but first things first, let's get this bacon in the pan. So I am going to come over here. So you can really use any pan for this. I want you to save your heaviest pan that you have to cook your burgers. So if you have a cast iron pan, perfect. As a second best option, maybe you have a heavy aluminum pan, something like that. What we want to try to avoid when we're cooking our burgers is a non-stick pan. But if that's all you have, don't worry. We're going to still make you that best cheeseburger of your life. All right, so I've turned my pan on here. I can go ahead, place my bacon in that pan. And that's going to cook, for about 10 minutes. Okay, so my bacon's on the stove. Make sure you're keeping a bit of an eye on it. But over about medium heat, that's going to crisp up in about 10 minutes. So, what are we going to do next? We're going to get our croutons in the oven. But before we can do that, what we need to do is, season our croutons a little bit. So what we're going to do is take about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. And, you don't have to be scientific with these measurements. And, I'm already a little bit out of order, but, what we're going to do is grate a little bit of that garlic into there. Give those croutons a nice garlicky taste. So the easiest way, with the garlic clove is just to smush it down with your hand a little bit and give that a little smush. And then what I like to use is a bit of a microplane. It's generally used to grate cheese or chocolate, but also does a great job with garlic. If you have a garlic mincer, or just finely chop it with your knife, whatever works. And we're just going to put, about maybe half a clove in there. And what we're going to just add to that, it's just a small pinch of Parmesan cheese. If you do a large pinch, nobody's going to be mad at you. A pinch of salt, and just a little bit of black pepper. What we can do is stir that up. And what I'm going to do is just drizzle that, right over my croutons. And, what might actually just be easier is why don't we just put this all in the bowl together. Now give that a nice toss. You want to make sure that oil, cheese, and garlicky goodness is well distributed over the croutons. All right. And then, we're going to get those croutons in the oven. As you can see, nicely coated with that garlic, cheese, and olive oil. So what I have is just a small baking sheet. Any oven-safe container will work. I've just lined mine with a bit of parchment paper. And just what you want to make sure here is that the croutons are, nice and evenly spread out. They got some room to breathe. The croutons want a social distance here. Make sure those croutons at least, 6, 8 centimeters apart. So we're going to pop those in the oven for about 10 minutes. Make sure you set a timer because if you're like me, I forget every single time. So about 10 minutes and those should crisp up nicely. And in the meantime, I can come back to my bacon here. So, starting to crisp up. I want to make sure that, that doesn't get too brown. But, cooks evenly. Some nice small pieces here. All right, so we can probably take a bit of a pause now. If anybody has any questions, feel free to let us know in that chat. Or, let us know what's your favorite burger topping. What are you going to be putting on your burger tonight? So we'll take a look at the chat. If anybody has any questions, let us know. And if not, we're going to get ready to start making some condiments. Who's ready to get saucy? If you guys, and I'm sure you can smell it right now, it smells great. There's not many better smells in the kitchen than bacon, garlic. We're about to add some onions. This smell party is only about to get better. And thanks very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. It's going to be a pleasure to put this cooking show on for you a little bit. If you wanted to check out my time on Wall of Chefs, which is a new Food Network show, feel free. There's a Stack TV free trial you can sign up for about 30 days. Check out my episode, season 1, episode 10, and you will see me absolutely fall apart and lose. But, I'm still having fun with it, still cooking with you. I'm going to teach you that best burger you've ever had. All right, my bacon is starting to crisp up here. So that's good. We're gonna cook that bacon till you know, it gets just a little bit crispy. I'm thinking about probably about 5 more minutes. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna take that bacon out of the pan. So if you have a slotted spoon, you know, something like this, this is gonna be your friend, because we wanna try to keep that bacon grease in the pan. You know, what we're gonna do is end up draining all but about 1 tablespoon of that bacon grease, because there's nothing better to cook onions in than bacon grease. And you know, if there's any vegetarians watching out there, like I said, you know, feel free to substitute, you know, the burger with a plant-based alternative. And this bacon jam actually could, you know, easily be adapted to drop the bacon and just be a delicious caramelized onion jam, which is going to taste just as great. Almost just as great. So while your bacon's getting crispy there, what you probably want to do is, you know, grab a plate, grab a bowl. If you have a little bit of paper towel, you know, this, you might want to line it on that bowl, so that when we drain that bacon, you know, it has something to drain on, and that paper towel is going to sop up any of that extra grease. And also, you know, while this bacon is cooking away, if you haven't done so already, you know, what I would suggest is that you mince the rest of your garlic. So you should have about 1.5 cloves left. You want to mince the rest of that. And if you haven't taken the time to do so already, you know, I highly suggest that you get some of those burger toppings above and beyond our recipe ready. So, you know, slice some tomatoes, some pickles, you know, whatever you love. So my bacon looks like it's getting just about there. Okay, we're going to add this bacon back in at the end, so you don't want it to get too crispy. I'm thinking about, you know, maybe a minute more for mine. Now maybe, you know, take a look at that oven. You know, it's probably worth giving those croutons a little shake around. Make sure that heat's getting distributed evenly. So we'll check on those croutons after the 10-minute mark. You know, they will get crispier actually as they come out of the oven. They dry out a bit more and continue to cook. But you know, you'll be the best judge of that. So when they come out of the oven, you know, it depends. Everybody's oven's a little bit different. So if they're still really squishy, you know, maybe leave them in for a minute or 2 more. Okay, my bacon looks like it is ready to come off. So I'm just going to use that slotted spoon, like so. So most of this bacon, you know, probably 90% of it is going to make its way into our bacon and onion jam. But, you know, I do suggest that you do keep a couple pieces on the side. It's going to take that Caesar salad to the next level. Okay, so like I said, you know, hopefully now you have some bacon grease, you know, left in that pan. You know, I just take a small ramekin, or maybe you already have a fat container ready to go, and just want to drain out all but about, you know, 1 tablespoon of that oil. And I'm going to reduce my heat here a little bit as well. All right, so looks like about 1 tablespoon left for me. And whoops. And then what I'm going to do next is add these sliced onions to the pan. You're probably going to hear a bit of a sizzle. That's all right. Now what we want to do is make sure that these onions get coated nicely in the bacon grease. And what we can do is just season these onions with a little bit of salt as well. Now it's important to add salt throughout the cooking process. If you just try to salt your food, you know, with a salt shaker after it's been cooked, it's not going to have the same effect. You know, you're going to want to make sure, you know, these onions are starting to brown. And we're going to reduce this heat to low. So we're going to cook these onions for about 8-10 minutes until they become nice and translucent. And then we're going to go from there. These are going to become some delicious caramelized onions that ultimately become our bacon jam. So it looks like I have about 2-3 minutes left on my croutons. I'm going to have a quick look at them. And it looks like they are browning up nicely. So, like I said, grab one. If it still feels a little bit squishy, no worries. They're going to dry out a lot more. I think mine seem like they are going to be perfect with that original 10-minute time estimate. So, about 2-3 minutes left. So, on Wallace Chefs, I did have the chance to cook for some pretty cool chefs. And personally for me, the coolest part about it was the fact that it was season 1 of the show. I had no idea who the judges were going to be going into the show. Fast forward to the filming date, I turn around, open my eyes, and, there is some of my idols, that I've watched on the Food Network growing up. Eating at some of these people's restaurants, and all of a sudden, holy crap, I'm going to be cooking for these people. So, names like Mark McEwen, big name in Toronto, as many of you know, Christine Cushing, some of these household names, and, over the course of hopefully the next couple hours, I was about to be cooking for them. So, daunting, yes, cooking for you, probably even more. But we're going to do this together, step by step. We're going to keep sort of stirring these onions a little bit. We're going to watch them break down. And a handy tip I actually have for caramelizing onions, we're not going to use it today. Maybe if we have to and you guys have it on hand, it might speed up the process. But, that handy tip is that if you add a bit of baking soda to onions, just literally 1/8 of a teaspoon, a pinch. It really helps them break down a lot faster and caramelize. True caramelized onions probably take an hour or 2. But if you sprinkle a little bit of baking soda on them, they can caramelize down in about 20 minutes. So, thank goodness for my timer because I probably would have forgotten. But let's go ahead and take those croutons out. And they just look perfect. So nice and golden brown, like I said. Give them a bit of the squish, they'll probably still have it, but not to worry because they'll dry out, a bit more. So that's it for our oven tonight, so you can go ahead and shut that off. It's going to be a stovetop party from here on out. So I just keep stirring my onions, want to get those nice and translucent. All right, you guys ready to get saucy? So we have 2, sauces to make tonight. One is going to be what I call the big mustache sauce. Maybe a copycat of your favorite Golden Arches sauce. But tonight it's big mustache sauce. And then secondly, we're going to make a Caesar salad dressing for our salad. What else? And it's going to be absolutely delicious. Caesar salad dressing is so easy to make. And you probably might already have the ingredients on hand, or after you bought them for tonight's class, you're going to have lots of ingredients left, to make that Caesar salad dressing. But, so, I'll ask everybody to get out 2 small bowls. One we're going to make our big mustache sauce in, and the other is going to be for our Caesar salad. But, what I'm actually just going to show you, and this is an easy tip for the future, is just how easy it is to make your own homemade mayonnaise if you already own a food processor. If you don't, maybe you have strong arms and a good whisk, but With a food processor, you can literally make mayonnaise in about 1 minute for about 25 cents. So how I make this, I have my food processor here. I'm just going to go ahead and crack one sort of room temperature egg into it. And then I'm going to pulse that with the food processor for about 20 seconds. So, just giving this a good pulse, getting that egg nice and blended. All right. So then, to make mayonnaise, what I'm going to do to add to that, we need to add a bit of an emulsifier. So this is just some white wine vinegar. You can really use any vinegar, but I like to use white wine vinegar. Surprise, surprise. Maybe about a teaspoon of that, not much. And then, what I like to... And then we're also going to use, about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. What I like to call this is my insurance. If the vinegar, didn't help emulsify everything together, well then, the mustard will. So again, got a teaspoon of mustard, teaspoon of vinegar, quick 20-second pulse. All right, and then the last ingredient in mayonnaise, while potentially not the healthiest, we all know mayonnaise is not the healthiest, but guess what? This is why. To your egg mixture here, what you're going to slowly pour in is about a cup of oil, and I'm just going to run this food processor the whole time as I pour that in. Give those onions a little stir, you don't want them to brown too much. And we can just keep pouring in that oil. And I start to hear the food processor work a little bit harder. I know that my mayo is starting to get, nice and thick and creamy. And you just want to make sure it's a very slow, steady stream of oil. See how you can see that start to mix up? Told you, mayonnaise. Just about a minute. That's all it takes. It's so easy. Okay, so it looks like my onions are starting to get to where I want them. So what we're gonna do now is add our 1/4 cup of brown sugar or maple syrup. I haven't decided what I'm gonna go with. Let's do maple syrup. So I'm going to eyeball it, but about a 1/4 cup. And make sure that pan is nice and low. My pan sounds like it's a little bit too hot. And we're just going to keep cooking those onions, on low heat, probably for the rest of this program until, you really see them start to shrink up. Become nice and caramelized and just absolutely delicious. All right, we're gonna take a quick pause. Check the YouTube chat because next we're gonna get saucy. It's time to make those 2 sauces. All right. Okay, so we've accomplished so much already. We've made our own croutons. We're starting to caramelize these onions. We've cooked our bacon. It's sauce time. So, what you're going to do is we're going to switch back to this view. So what you're going to do is you're going to, take a small bowl. You're going to add, we're going to make the big mustache sauce first. So you're going to add, about a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, about a tablespoon of ketchup, a tablespoon of mustard, and then 2 tablespoons of relish or chopped pickle. It's literally that easy. You're going to stir those items together, and like I said, it's going to look and taste a lot like that sauce you have at your favorite Golden Arches. So, I've made my sauce here, and you can just let that sit in the fridge for the rest of our time here. As you can see, looks and tastes a lot like it. So, it's that easy. You're going to put together your ketchup, your mustard, your relish, your mayonnaise. Probably everything you were going to put on a burger anyways. And make our famous big mustache sauce. So, 1 sauce down. Next up, Caesar salad dressing. This one is almost just as easy. So what we're going to do in this situation, you're going to use the rest of your mayonnaise, so probably about a 1/2 cup. And then what you're going to combine into there is the remaining amount of your mustard, so about 2 tablespoons. So, I like to use Dijon in my Caesar dressing, but if you only have deli lying around, hopefully you have something other than just your plain old yellow ballpark mustard, but guess what? If we have to use it, that's going to work too. So you're going to add your mustard, you're going to add that rest of your minced garlic, your Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of that white wine or red wine vinegar. So again, that's going to be the rest of your mayonnaise. You're going to add your Parmesan cheese in there, but I do suggest that you keep a little bit of that Parmesan cheese separate as a topping. Your mustard, your vinegar, a little bit of salt and pepper, and that's all going to come together. If I've forgotten something, which I probably have, refer back to that recipe. And if your dressing is feeling a little bit thick, you think, feel free to water it down with a little bit of extra vinegar, or, add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to that dressing. And then, what that should look like when it comes together is, something very similar to this. It's got some nice chunks with our Parmesan cheese in there. You see those flakes of black pepper, garlic, delicious. So wow, it's that easy, just like that. With probably 6, 7 household ingredients, you've made 2 delicious sauces. You're saving those preservatives you can't even pronounce on the package. And, it really just is that easy and just so tasty to whip those things together. So my onions look like they are starting to come together over here. I'm going to actually pick this up. And show you, you see some bit of blackening, but that's okay. That sugar, that maple syrup or that brown sugar that we added, is really going to start to caramelize everything. Just make it absolutely delicious. And what's important when you cook? The most important thing that not enough people do is to taste. Taste as you go. You might have to wash 3-4 more spoons, but it's so worth it. Just grab one of these onions and is it salty enough? Do you taste that maple coming through? If it's not salty enough, as I said, you want to build in layers, so maybe a bit more salt. But I really like where these onions are coming to. And guess what? We are still cooking the burgers soon. Okay, do you guys like where your onions are at? I think I like where my onions are at, and in the interest of time, I think we're ready to, add the rest of the stuff for this bacon onion jam, because we want that to continue to cook away, over the next 15-20 minutes until we finalize our burgers. So how are you going to do that? Take that bacon, that you saved from before. Like I said, save a couple pieces for the salad. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, add that right back into the pan with our onions. And then to that, what we're going to add is, if you saw my email this morning and you saved a 1/4 cup of your morning brew, go ahead and add that. And then what you can also add is another 1/4 cup of water. If you drank all the coffee this morning, it was Monday morning, you needed it, just double up on the water. Add that to the pan. We're going to increase the heat to medium a little bit here. And what we want is just everything to start to come together. Slowly cook. Like I said, that's probably going to take the rest of our time in this class. It's going to be the last thing we put on our burger, other than the burger itself. And we're just going to watch this slowly crisp up. I'm actually going to switch it to a different burner here because I want this burner for my burgers. So, medium heat, make sure it's not boiling away. You just want it to slowly simmer, that bacon, onion, get married in the pan, coffee. Can you get it any better? Okay, where are we at? Does anybody have any questions on where we're at so far? Let's recap a little bit. We got our salad. The lettuce is ready to go. And guess what? So is the dressing. And the croutons. And the bacon. So basically our salad is ready to be assembled, but just hold tight. We've created our big mustache sauce. It's going to be an absolute showstopper on that burger. Our bacon onion jam is cooking away. Something tells me we only have, one thing left. The cheeseburgers themselves. So how many of you have had, an awful cheeseburger in your life? There's those hockey pucks sometimes. Everybody's had a hockey puck of a cheeseburger. Maybe it's the meatball cheeseburger. I've had a couple of those where, the bun is probably 1/8 of the size of the actual burger. Not a big fan. But, how we're going to do our burgers tonight is actually, do a double patty. But those patties are going to be super, super thin. And by doing that, we're going to get maximum crust on those patties, and guess what? Maximum flavor. So what's really important in these situations is, having a non-stick pan. So whether that's a cast iron or a heavy aluminum pan, that is super ideal in this situation. And if you don't already own a cast iron pan, it's $20-$25 for a 10-inch skillet. It's going to change your life. Especially for us Canadians who might, not be able to get outside in the winter. Maybe you live in a condo for barbecuing. It's going to make the best steak of your life. Indoors, super easy, and, such a worthwhile investment. So I'm going to sort of demo this in 2 ways. If you have the cast iron pan, stick along. If you do not, you only have a non-stick pan. It's going to be a little bit different, but not very. So, check on that onion jam one more time. Make sure that's cooking away nicely. And have a taste of it too. You know, think it needs a little bit more maple syrup, maybe it does. You know, think it needs a bit more salt, like I said, maybe it does. You are the best judge, and it's gonna be great. Okay. So we got our sauces ready. Our bacon onion jam is coming together. It's time to form some patties. So like I said, you know, hopefully you had a chance, you know, hopefully you were able to find some medium ground beef. You know, if you had to go with lean, not a big deal. But what we want to create is about 4 2-ounce burger patties. And like I said, you know, by doing 2 small patties, it's really going to maximize that crust and that flavor. So, you know, you want to make your patties about the size of golf balls, you know, maybe slightly larger. And if you've seen, you know, you see my ground beef here, a little bit red, a little bit brown, not an issue. Just means the beef's oxidized a little bit, but it's still going to taste absolutely fantastic. So, you know, you can sort of roll them into a nice ball here, nice uniform ball. You want them to be about the same size. Great. I'm just going to wash my hands here. Okay, and then, you know, the next most important piece after the beef is the bun. Like I said, you know, brioche is perfect. It's like a cloud. So, you know, what you can just do, I think these ones are pre-sliced, but what you want to do is just slice those buns open. And, you know, whether your waistline likes it or not, I'm going to recommend buttering both sides of the bun. If you want to only butter one side, I guess that's okay too. So, you know, just a light layer of butter or margarine. On there. As such. And then, you know, maybe just take a second, a breather, you know, check on this onion jam. How's it looking? Mine's starting to come together. You want to wait until those onions get nice and jam-like. You know, it's gonna suck up that moisture. And damn, is it gonna be good. All right. So, what's important with these burgers too is, you know, because we're going to employ sort of the smash burger technique, again, if you have the cast iron or heavy non-stick pan, the smash burger is the best choice. If you only have a non-stick pan, you know, we'll show you another way. But these burgers are going to take, you know, a minute. So what's really important is that we get our buns prepared, you know, with our toppings. Before, you know, we actually add that burger to it. All right. So my jam is looking great. Okay, so you can go ahead and turn, like I said, your heaviest pan. This one, pretty heavy. Get that on the stove. No oil, no butter, no nothing. We just want it dry. You know, you can put that about over medium heat. And, you know, what I like to do is just hold my hand, you know, over the pan. And that's the best judge of how hot the pan is. I'm very lucky to have a gas stove. You know, for those of you cooking on electric, might be a little bit slower to heat up, but that's okay. So, you know, I want about medium heat. Feel like I'm getting there. And, you know, these buns, you're going to just place both sides, like I said, you know, butter both sides. And you want to just place the buttered side face down in the pan. It's going to get nice and toasted. And just buttering that bun is going to make the world of difference on your burger. So In go the buns. I can hear a little bit of sizzle. And those buns are probably going to take about a minute, maybe. And what you can do is just, with the palm of your hand, make sure that that buttered bun is getting contact in the pan. Because there's nothing quite like butter getting contact in a pan. My bacon jam is smelling incredible, and I hope yours is too. Just gonna come, give you a bit of a visual on how mine's looking. Hopefully I can smell that coffee in there. Almost ready. But you do want to keep a close eye on those buns. So, just what you're looking for. God, I love brioche. Two. All right, I'm happy. Okay, our buns are toasted. We are almost there. Crank this pan as hot as you can get it. And if there's a little bit of extra butter in that pan, you actually might want to just give it a quick wipe out. So what's important about a smash burger, and what's important here probably is to turn the vent on too. What's important about a smash burger, why I say you don't want a non-stick pan, is because how to make the best smash burger is to get the burger stuck on the pan. And guess what? With a non-stick pan, that's probably not going to happen. So, like I said, I'm heating my cast iron up here as hot as I can possibly get it. That's going to take about a minute or two to preheat. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and toss our salad here. I'm going to find a little bit of room. Move these pieces off to the side. So, with the salad, we have our croutons. Like so. And, depending on how you're feeling, how'd your Monday go? Add a couple more croutons. You be the judge. That's all right. And then, what we're going to add next to that is we're going to add, nothing else but our dressing. And like I said, the discretion is up to you. I like a lot of dressing. Like I said, my waistline probably doesn't. But, go ahead and add that dressing. You're probably going to have some left over. And we can just go ahead, toss that salad. And with my Caesar salad, I do like to toss it a couple minutes early. Especially Caesar salad, just because it allows those croutons, to soak up some of that dressing and just become delicious. All right, a bit more dressing, why not? Okay, salad is looking good. I'm gonna set that to the side. Back to my burger buns. Like I said, super important. My pan is heating up. Super important to get these burgers dressed, before we actually let the beef hit the pan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my big mustache sauce, and I'm going to put a thin layer of that on the bottom bun. And then any extra toppings that you want to add on the bottom, You know, for me tonight, that's just going to be a bit of tomato. So 2 of those. But whatever you want. And I always encourage putting the toppings on the bottom of the bun. Maybe they're bottomings then. But nonetheless, it's much better texture, flavor. You should check it out. Okay, my pan is smoking. This is good news. I'm going to take my bacon onion jam and I'm going to add that to the top burger bun. Just a bit. Okay, I know you're getting excited. I know you want to smash some burgers. And it's just about time. My pan is smoking. That's good. That's a good thing. Yeah, you know, maybe if you have a fire alarm close by, watch out. Get that rag ready to swing it around. I'm going to put my fan on high. Definitely turn on that fan. You're going to need it. But, so what we're going to do here, if you have the cast iron pan, you know, what I'm going to ask you to do is take, you know, those 2 pieces of beef. You might only be able to fit 2 at a time. And we'll smash it into the pan. So for everybody, you know, this is tutorial number 1 if you have a non-stick pan. If you only have a non-stick pan, stick with me. I'm going to give you a different tip. But okay, we're going to do our smash burger. I have my 2 pieces of beef. And I need to get prepared with my trusty metal spatula. You know, you want as strong of a spatula as you can because you're going to be smashing that burger. Okay, so I got my 2 pieces of beef. They're coming into the pan here. Hear that sizzle? Hear that sizzle? Alright, here we go. And then you're just going to smash as hard as you can. You know, you might want to use another spoon or something to get that added pressure. But as you can see, whoops, you know, those are some smashed burgers. Season those generously with salt and a little bit of pepper too. Where's my pepper gun? A little bit of pepper. You know, those are just going to take about 45 seconds. And see how those are stuck to the pan? That's how you're going to get that crispy, delicious goodness. While those are cooking, get out that Kraft single. Like I said, nothing melts like this. You know, the best other choice, if you want to be all fancy, mild cheddar, but trust me, nothing melts like this. Alright, you know, I can see my burger is crisping away. It's been about 45 seconds, maybe a minute. Let's see if we can get you a better angle here. So then what I want to take is my spatula, and I literally want to scrape as hard as I can to make sure I get all those brown goodness bits, the best part. This is why if you have a non-stick pan, guess what? Scratching the Teflon off it isn't the best idea. So we're going to flip that burger. And I just have to show you guys how this nice crust. So, as you can see, a nice crust on top of those burgers. But we need to act quickly. What you want to do is, you know, get that slice of cheese right on top. And that burger doesn't even need to cook on the other side. It's cooked so fast. And the key to that other burger, you know, is going to make that absolutely no problem. Alright. So, it's literally dripping cheese. We're going to place that right onto the bun. And then, whoops, I'm not very good at this yet. Oh, you see that juicy cheeseburger? I do. I can smell it. You're probably looking at one yourself. But you're asking me, Adam, okay, I don't have that cast iron pan. Help, what do I do? Okay, we're just gonna demo this on a cast iron pan, but what you're gonna do, keep that nice and hot. I want that pan as hot as you can get it, but don't get it too hot. Like I said, you don't want to burn that Teflon off. Okay, so I got my nonstick pan. It's nice and hot. I'm still gonna do the smash. Not quite as much though, a little less. And then what's really important is use your finger if it's nice and clean, or a wooden spoon, but you want to get a nice hole in the middle of that burger. So you see by poking down this small hole, what that's going to do is not allow your burger to shrink up. Otherwise, you're going to have a very large bun with not a very large burger. So by putting that in, it's going to allow some of the pressure to release. So if you have a non-stick pan, that's really important. And if anything, you can use the spatula to help that burger not shrink up. So, feel free to use the spatula in that pan. You're probably not going to get quite the same brown crust, but it's going to be, very similar. So, same thing. Give that a flip. Make sure that gets its salt and pepper when you cook it. Top with your cheese. And guess what? You have just made probably the most delicious cheeseburger you are ever going to have. So, how do we finish this off? We have our salad here. We've already tossed that. What we can just do, get this beef out of here. What we're going to do is just add this to the side of the plate, like so. And remember, we saved that bacon for a reason. And guess what? We saved that cheese even more for a reason. And there you have it, guys. Thank you so much. Please just take a second, maybe 2 seconds, to appreciate what you just created. But guess what? This burger does not get better with time. So please dig in, enjoy. I know I'm going to. And if you haven't already made your donation to Movember, please go ahead and click that link in the bio. Thanks so much for coming out. And I hope this is the best burger you've ever had. I will stick around for a few minutes if anybody does have any questions or something has gone fatally wrong. I'm here to answer any questions you have. Thanks again for coming out. I hope to do more of these cooking shows with the firm in the future. So let me know if you're interested or if you have any groups or charities at KeePMG that you'd like my help with. Happy to help and cook with all of you. It's been a pleasure. Thanks very much. And like I said, we'll stick around in the YouTube chat for a few minutes if anybody has any additional questions. On behalf of myself and the GTA Movember Committee, thanks a lot, and we look forward to seeing some clean-shaven faces tomorrow.